In 2018, the Africa Union adopted the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which was supposed to set up a system where African countries trade easily within each other, right? As it stands now, only 15% of trade that happen on the continent of Africa happen between African countries. 85% of things imported and exported in Africa happens with countries outside of Africa, whether it's China, who gets about 20% of trade in Africa, or the European Union or the Americas. And this is a problem, right? That the problem is not just that the agreement has been signed. The thing that stops the agreement from feeling fully functional is historical and structural. According to the president of Ghana, African countries have a system that have been historically set up to benefit their colonial masters. And that is the historical reason that Africans cannot have free trade. The other one is structural. Structural in the sense that it's hard to travel from one African country to another. So today we are going to talk about the structural problem and how the president of Ghana is trying to get to the point of solving free trade in Africa. My name is Nenebi Tony. I'm a Ghanaian writer who lives in the US. On this channel, I talk about trade from the perspective of an African. And this is Afrocapitalism, my bi-weekly analysis of Africans getting to the bag. So let's start with this. This is part of my Africa Union Summit, videos. Let me give you some personal stories because it will help you to understand the picture I'm trying to paint here. A few years ago, I was in my house in Ghana, my parents' house, and my friend called me, Kwame Rasta, and was like, Tony, do you want to go to Nigeria? And I'm like, yes, but I don't have my passport on me. And it was like, do you have your student ID? I'm like, yes. So my boy Kwame Rasta picked me up on a Wednesday morning, and we traveled from Accra, Ghana to Lagos, Nigeria. And I was there from Wednesday to Sunday. I slept for only 2 hours. I had so much fun. So when I came back to Ghana, sometime later, I had some friends from the US visiting me. And we went to Paga. When we got to Paga, we thought that since we are close to the northern border Ghana shares with Burkina Faso, we could just, enter Burkina Faso and see what's up. But the Americans cannot come with us. And I'll explain why later. So one of my friends, who happened to be a white boy, decided that he wanted to enter Burkina Faso with us. And the Ghanaian immigration officer saw him and asked him, can I see your passport? And then looked at his passport and told him that he cannot come back into Ghana if he goes out. And stubborn white boy, he went with us to Burkina Faso, and when he was coming back, he was stopped and he was not allowed to enter Ghana anymore. And then he was mad, so we who are Ghanaians had to do some, amamre to allow my friend to enter. And so when we got back, I asked him, why did you go with us when we explicitly told you not to? He said, I don't understand why I'm the only person he asked for my passport. Is it because I'm white? I'm like, yes. Welcome to the world of being a minority. We West Africans have what we call free movement. I can travel to any West African country as long as I can prove I am a West African. So I just look West African. So he just allowed me to go without even looking at my passport, right? Because he just need an ID that proves that I am West African. So you obviously look like a non-West African. So he profiled you and decided that you are not qualified to enjoy our free trade. You understand? So free trade is something that is supposed to benefit citizens of a certain area. In West Africa, we have the ECOWAS Free Trade Treaty, which allows citizens of West African countries to move to other West African countries and live there for up to 90 days, right? And that has helped us to create a system where West Africans have an easier time doing business with other West Africans. And I'll give you this other example. A few years ago, I think 2022, I went to Sierra Leone. And when I was there, I was living in my friend's mom's house. And my friend's mom told me the story of how she made money before the war in Sierra Leone. She said she noticed that people in Sierra Leone like bees from Ghana, and they also like lace material from Nigeria. So she would fly from Ghana, from Freetown, Sierra Leone to Ghana, buy bees, and fly from Ghana to Nigeria, buy lace, and fly from Nigeria to Sierra Leone, and then sell them, make some money, and then she started building houses. At the time I was talking to her, she was retired and making money from the houses she has built in Sierra Leone from selling these materials, right? And she told me that when the war happened, she realized that her children are not going to be safe in Sierra Leone, so she got her business partners in Ghana and Nigeria to adopt her kids, including my friend. And then I met my friend in Ghana and we became friends, right? So free trade, free movement helps with trade and also personal protection. That is why it is important. But it is really, really difficult to enforce free trade all over Africa. So West Africa, ECOWAS, 15 countries have free trade. Even those countries that are no longer part of ECOWAS have free trade. In East Africa, they have free trade. But collectively in Africa, we do not have free trade. Free movement. And because we do not have free movement, it makes it difficult for us to reach the point of free trade. And this year at the AU Summit, the president of Ghana will be leading the charge to get African countries to join what he calls the League of Nations for Free Trade. So what he's saying is that he's going to get like 7 other African countries to join Ghana to start the league so that Ghanaians can start trading or moving freely from Ghana to those countries, right? And why does this matter? Let me give you my final story so that it helps you to understand why this matters. When the president of Ghana was talking, he said something like, it is difficult to transport goods from Ghana to Zambia, because he was in Zambia when he said this. Because Ghana produces aluminum materials like electric wires and all that. Zambia produces beef in excess. Ghana imports beef from Argentina. Zambia imports aluminum products from China. So instead of Zambia importing from China, they can import from Ghana the aluminum material, and then Ghana can import beef from Zambia instead of Argentina, right? What is making it difficult to do this is this. To transport goods from Ghana to Zambia, you would have to take the goods from Ghana to Amsterdam in Europe, and then ship it from Amsterdam to South Africa, and then move it from South Africa to Zambia. So basically, to move from Ghana to Zambia goods, you have to move it to a different continent and back. So why won't Ghanaians just do business with Amsterdam instead of Zambia? You understand? That is why the president of Ghana is aiming for a world where it becomes easier to move, because these things move hand in hand. When it becomes easier for people to travel from Ghana to Zambia, now they would find a way to move goods from Ghana to Zambia easily. Like the way my friend's mom find a way to move goods from Ghana and Nigeria to Sierra Leone. When people are entrepreneurs or they are enterprising, just give them an enabling environment, they will create wealth for themselves. And that is the goal of the AFTA, African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The goal is to create an environment where Africans feel comfortable to do business with each other. And that is Agenda 2063. The goal is by 2063, the 15%, which is the amount of, trade Africans do with each other, will move from just 15 to maybe 50%. Because we live in the global village, we still have to do business with the rest of the world. But We have to prioritize doing business with each other. And that is when we are talking about Pan-Africanism. In the past, Pan-Africanism was about getting independence as African countries. These days, every African country is independent politically. We need economic freedom. And to get economic freedom, we need to rely on each other. That is why we need to circulate our money within each other. Free movement creates an avenue for that. That is why I will be rooting for the president of Ghana when he champions the League of Nations for Free Movement at this year's ASU Summit. All right, my name is Nenebi Tony. I'm a Ghanaian writer who lives in the US. On this channel, I talk about geopolitics and trade from the perspective of an African. So subscribe if you like how I break down intellectual issues.